Good morning and welcome along to the start of a brand new live stream series. We are looking forward to this one. We're continuing with the Burnley side that we were managing in the head coach until this summer, and we're going to turn it into a Youth Academy challenge. So what that means in essence is that we want to create an 11 homegrown players who can go and lead us to glory, silverware and potentially European glory as well. Now that's going to be hard to do, It's going to be far easier said than done. Many people have tried, including myself in the past, and dramatically failed. L Gaming, good morning. Thank you for popping along. I will do a quick introduction in a moment. Thank you so much for everyone who's popped along for the last few live streams. Obviously, this Burnley side is very familiar for those of you that have, but it's going to be in a slightly different, unique form now. So we're going to be going through with Burnley, trying to create a dynasty of homegrown talent. So that can be either signing players who are under 18, that can be the players that are already here, which is why we've picked this Burnley side, and that can be pretty much any other way as well. So it can be people coming through the academy, the youth intakes, all the usual methods. And of course, we've got 3 or 4 first teamers who are already here at Burnley who came through in that method as well. So firstly, thank you to everyone who's here for the start of the live stream, who's following along this morning. I really do appreciate it. It's the first time we're going to be playing matches from FM live on stream. So if there's any technical issues and that, do let me know. And if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. And if you're new to this one, please put a thumbs up on it. It does make such a difference. And I'm really looking forward to getting into the action. I know it's an early start. I apologise for this every time. It's Tuesday morning. Unfortunately, it's my only day off work, so it's the only time I can do the live streams. So unfortunately, we don't have much choice in that regard. But thank you to everyone who's popping along. Welcome along to the new series. Please do put a thumbs up on it if you're new to the channel. I'm really looking forward to getting going today. And just a reminder that I am fairly amateur here. It's my 4th ever live stream. It's a very basic setup. I've got the one computer where I'm switching between the live stream chat and the computer and Football Manager. And then on my phone, I've got the live chat as well so I can get involved with that. So hopefully I'll be able to get round to you quickly. But thank you so much for popping along. I can see the number of viewers creeping up already. On a Tuesday morning, that's absolutely incredible. If you are new to it, please do put a thumbs up on it. And let's go and get into Burnley because we've got a lot to get through this morning. If you want to know anything about the save, about Football Manager, then please do let me know. L Gaming, you've asked the first good question, So obviously this was the head coach before with Burnley. It was a director of football challenge. We couldn't sign players. I have turned that off now for a very good reason. We don't want any over 18 players coming in, So we don't want any signings that would break the rules. And as a result, we can't let the director of football do it, particularly on deadline day where deals are getting done in 15 or 30 minutes. We wouldn't have time to react and stop them. What I have done is left the youth signings on for the head of youth development. So if he bids for an 18-year-old or under, we can let that happen. If it's an over 18, again, we'll try and stop it in time. But for us, we have taken charge of the transfer window. So that has been the main thing for us so far. Thank you to everyone who's popping along. Please do put a thumbs up on it. Get involved in the chat. It's going to be a fun morning with Burnley. We've got a lot to get through. So let's start with Burnley, with the transfers. Now, the reason I want to say that is because obviously we have still been signing 18s and under. There's sort of 2 or 3 schools of thought on a Youth Academy challenge in FM. There's the purist view, which is it's only your academy. And of course, that is the one I would like to do long term. But realistically, with it being June already and the new game coming out in November and us doing this once a week, if we did that, we would never make it. Tom, thanks for popping along, mate. Appreciate it. Of course, the co-star of my Sunday series, the Stadium Reviews. Do appreciate you popping along and saying hello. And of course, check out that series as well. The Charlton one last week went absolutely nuts. It got about 250 views from somewhere. So thank you so much for everyone who watched that. But back to Burnley. There are the 2 schools of thought, as we mentioned. The one where we have to bring everyone through the academy. But realistically, we'd never compete in time if we did that. Even though we've got 6 or 7 here, it's not quite enough. So as a result, we've gone for the slightly lighter approach, which is we can sign 18-year-olds from anywhere in the world or under, so they get their 3 years of development to become homegrown at the club. Anyone over 18 cannot be signed. We can also sign players who are over 18 who are previously homegrown at Burnley. So you will have noticed in the thumbnail this morning, the star of the show was Dwight McNeil in that picture. And I can confirm he was the first man I went to and we've managed to get him back because he was on the transfer list. So we've got a new backup left winger just where we wanted him, which is perfect. Thank you to everyone who's joining along. please do put a thumbs up on it. Get involved in the chat. If you haven't been to a live stream before, I really hope you enjoy this one. It's only my 4th one, so apologies if it's a little bit amateurish at times. Charlie, looking forward to seeing how this plays out. Thank you very much. Of course, you've co-starred on the channel before as well. You've been involved in a network career. You've been a co-commentator for the playoffs, so I appreciate you popping along too. Check that series out later if you haven't already. L Gaming, what are the youth facilities like? Well, let me start by showing you the facilities. In terms of Burnley themselves, we've still got the same turf moor. We have got excellent training facilities, state-of-the-art in fact, state-of-the-art youth facilities, a good academy and average recruitment or adequate recruitment. So we're working very hard to get those last two improved before the next youth intake. But otherwise, it's a very good starting point. So that's the reason we've continued with Burnley rather than picking a new side. Because I didn't want it to be realistically one of the top 6 in the Premier League, something you've all probably seen before, and something where we knew we'd succeed. And obviously we grew a bit of an attachment to some of the stars here, so we want to continue with them. So let's go and have a look at the transfers to start this one. Thank you to everyone popping along. I am having a look down on the chat on the phone at the same time to make sure I don't miss any as we're going along. But we have got big news in terms of ins and outs. We're sort of planning over 2 seasons to do a full review of the squad, get rid of all of the people who aren't homegrown gradually, and then get in lots of under-18s or keep the people who have been stepping up to the first team. So with that in mind, all of the signings will be 18 and under, bar the one that was already pre-agreed. Don't forget there's still a few remnants of the head coach challenge. There were pre-agreed transfers, pre-agreed sales, and other little bits to get through as well. Some players unhappy and all of that, which we'll worry about later. But let's go to the transfer history, and we'll start with those who have left the club. And it is a long list of players who were heavy stars for our for our head coach challenge with Burnley. Of course, in that one, we've moved on now. We've moved clubs, gone abroad, and that's why we're able to now start this series. And let's talk about all of the people that are leaving. Thank you everyone who's popping along. I can see the number of viewers and likes creeping up. It really is appreciated. On a Tuesday morning, I know not the ideal time, but I really am grateful. So put a thumbs up on it if you're here. It does make such a difference. And do get involved down in the chat. It's always been very active, and I'll try and answer as many of the questions as possible. It can be about this save, it can be about FM, the channel in general, the podcast channel, which has gone nuts the last couple of weeks, or just life in general. Let me know what you're feeling and we'll get involved. Let's start with the transfers though, going out of the club. And we start with a big one. Fran Villalba was our first choice number 10, probably till nearly the end of last season. One of the youngsters has overtaken him though, and he's an under 18. And he was only going to decline at 31. So Villalba's on his way. He's gone to Wigan, who I think are in the Championship now. Did they get promoted? They did. They were in League One a couple of years back. They're back in the Championship now. L Gaming, have you got a good youth scouting pack? We have put the highest on, I think. Let me have a look. Scouting. Let's go to transfers. From the amount that have gone out of it, I would imagine we've got a very good one. Can't even remember how to find it now. We'll have to go to the player search screen, which is something we don't normally use, by the way. Yes, we've got the World Youth package on, so we've got the highest one possible. One thing I will say as well, which I didn't mention, is even though we are now making our own transfers, it's still with the old rules that we use in pretty much every other series, which is we don't use the player search screen. We only use players that are found via scout reports or organically, say one we've watched, who we like, or whatever else it may be. And here with under 18s, that leaves a pretty small pool, but we've still managed to find a few. Let's go on to the next sales. So we've got the young Greek player who was signed the summer before. Pretty sure he featured in our last live stream. He wasn't good enough, so he's gone out. We didn't get a great deal of money for him, but it is what it is. To the same club, Nottingham Forest, Sebastian Millet, a player who's been linked with going out a few times. I think he rejected a couple of deals in January. He's gone to Nottingham Forest as well, 3.3 million. A decent deal. Glenn Stevens come back from loan. He'll be the backup centre midfielder instead, or number 10, sorry. Monchu's gone as well, 29 years of age. He's gone to Huddersfield in the Championship. He's an average player, and with the young central midfielders coming through, we had to get rid of some of the old boys. And in positions where we already had replacements, it made sense to start with them, if we're being honest. So let's just have a look at the rest of them. A few players going out on loan. Andreas Dimitri we thought about keeping. He's now got a 7-month injury. So unfortunately, that's the end of his hopes as well. And then we'd sort of go on to the backup free agent players. Louakima left on a free. He's gone to Nantes over in France. Joan Perez signed in January, the backup keeper. It's gone to Hamburg for 350 grand. Don't forget there was another one pre-agreed by the director of football, and we've bought in a young one ourselves. Jandro Orellana, another first team player. He's gone to Spal over in Italy. A decent player at 29, but again, was only going to go one way and wasn't going to be first choice. So in terms of getting candidates out who aren't homegrown, the ones who aren't first choice would obviously be the first candidates. Manu Garcia is another one in that boat. 2.7 million. He's gone to Cagliari, again in Italy. He's picked up a knock and he's 31 years of age now. But to be honest, he wasn't going to play much. We're probably about to be interrupted by the postman, so you can ignore that if the doorbell goes. I do apologise. Manu Garcia, the next one on his way out. And he was followed, this time on a loan deal, by Eric Palmer-Brown. Jonah, good morning. I remember you from the last one. Thanks for popping along again. Charlie, do you have any links with other clubs set up? Can we nab a few from their youth set up? We'll go and have a look at that in a second. We'll just quickly go through the last couple of sales. Eric Palmer-Brown, he's gone on loan to Amiens in France. Obviously features for us heavily when we got promoted from the Championship, but last year declined heavily, and you can see that's continued. The reason he's gone there rather than other clubs is because they agreed to pay most of his wages. So either 60 or 70%, so that gives us a little bit more wiggle room. Another youngster, Jamie Howes, to QPR, and Alfredo Aguado, who was the third choice keeper, has gone to Elche over in Spain. He was never going to get in a team for us, and again, wasn't homegrown. So you mentioned about setups and links with other clubs. I'm not sure what we've got going upwards, but down, nothing now. There was one before with Accrington, I think, but that's been ended now, so unfortunately, we haven't got any at the moment, but we will try and set up feeder clubs. It's a good way to think about for the future. I hadn't even thought of it, to be honest. We were so worried about the summer and getting under 18s in. So let's look for an affiliate club and to score first options from a club with good youth recruitment. No, see, Mike Garlick's not having any of it. He wants us to concentrate on our own youth players. So let's see how important we believe it to be. He's happy. Mike Garlick has succumbed to Charlie Bett's request. Well done, mate. So that's going to be searched for over the next month, and hopefully from January onwards, that will give us a few extra options. But thank you to everyone who's joining along still. I can see the number of views and likes still creeping up. At this time of a Tuesday morning, I really do appreciate it. If you're new, put a thumbs up on it. It does make such a difference, and do get involved in the chat. We've got a good group here. We've had a few in the last few live streams. I'm really looking forward to this one as well. But that's all of the players that went out from Burnley. Of course, a full stream replay will be available at the end, so if you've missed any at the start, don't worry about it. And we've got to talk about transfers in as well. So just the 4 or 5, of course, we could only sign homegrown players at the club or 18 or unders. So the one exclusion to that is the first one, which was already pre-agreed. Tom Ritchie, who's a backup keeper, we'll keep him for the 6 or 12 months and then we'll sell him on at the end of the year. He's not going to be a feature long term as a result. And of course we've got Summerskill in goal, who we know is homegrown at the club and a good Premier League keeper. But let's move on to the 4. Firstly, the cover star of the series. Dwight McNeil, now 29 years of age, homegrown at Burnley, doing brilliantly in the Premier League and for England under 21s in real life. He's a really good player, we know that. But in this series, he's sort of developed a bit. He's had a few injury problems and he's probably now, if we're being honest, a Championship player. But we know on the left wing, we've got homegrown Owen Edmonds, who's absolutely brilliant at Premier League level. So to get this guy in as a backup in a position we didn't really have one is an absolute no-brainer. Of course, Jack Vaughan had come on and covered on the left a bit, but now he's one of our first choice backup central midfielders and he's our backup right winger to Ferran Torres and will eventually become the first choice, of course. So we've got to bear in mind that we need squad options and Dwight McNeil just seemed like a sensible choice for a low wage. So we've got him back at the club. I'm sure a lot of Burnley fans, if there's any of you there, will be very pleased to see that. Thank you to everyone who's joining along still. Appreciate it. I know it's early on a Tuesday morning. I can only apologise. And we move on to 3 South American Wonderkids. And we've got to sign 18s and unders. Now I know there's 2 schools of thought on the youth challenge and this, for the purist, probably isn't fair. And to me, long term, I wouldn't do this either. But as we mentioned, we're in June already. We've only got a short time. And if we want to succeed, we've got to do the lighter version of the Youth Academy Challenge. And that means signing players that will become homegrown at the club. So these 3 are all 18 or under when they joined and they fall into that category. So first is Fabio. He's a young Brazilian centre-half, 2.5-star ability, 5-star potential. He joined us for 10.5 million from Villarreal in Spain. So where had he been before? He came through in Spain. Maybe he's one of those Brazilian Spanish players. Came over young, so there's no problem with that. He is going to be a good centre-half, a backup for this season. We've had to put him on over £8,000 a week to get the work permit, a mistake I've made with one other, which we'll see shortly. But he looks like he's going to be really good, and that's the sort of player I've got to bear in mind. We're obviously going to lose eventually Flauhaut at centre-half, who joined us at 22. He's currently our best centre-half. And we're also going to lose Craig Robinson and Rod Coleman, who joined us later. So it's just going to be Simpson and probably this guy at the moment. But he looks a good player. Let me know what you think. I think he's going to be a superstar in a couple of years. Got the professional personality as well. So hopefully that will develop as time goes on. The second one is again from Brazilian from Brazil this time. From Corinthians for 3.3 million, Marcus Vinicius. Now this is the one where I forgot to give him the wages. So unfortunately, he's not quite going to be able to play in the first team yet. But it's the position we got Dwight McNeil, so we're thinking more a year or two in the future. And possibly as a central midfielder too, looking at his passing range. But at 19 years of age, a really good player. He was 18 when he joined, of course, so no worries on that. 2.5-star ability, 5-star potential, and will be a star for the under-23 side. And then finally is the biggest one for us. George Grondona. He's an 18-year-old Argentinian keeper. He's already as good as Summerskill, and he's got 5-star potential. So he's someone who's going to play in the cup games, and I hope will be a proper star in years to come. L Gaming, are the youth facilities the best in the world? I think state of the art is the best you can get. So yes, I think they're the best in the world. The same again for the training facilities as well. So we can't do much better there. We will go to the board and ask for upgrades in other areas. But that'll have to come as the season goes on. Thank you to everyone who's joining along still. The number of views continues to creep up. Your support is incredible, sorry. Please do put a thumbs up on if you're new. It makes such a difference as we get into the season. And let's see, before we go and get into this year, as by the way, our objective is just to avoid relegation, if we can get the board to agree to improvements. So we can't improve either of the facilities, which suggests again that they are the best in the world. We can increase the junior coaching budget, which they've got on board with. And we can't do the youth recruitment. Not quite sure what the reason for that is. It's a bit of a shame because that's arguably the more important one for us now. We might ask them to expand the stadium as well. Doesn't want to do that. I can understand why. There were a few games it wasn't sold out last year. But it was worth a go. It was a good start. We managed to get the junior coaching increased. And that's one thing on the board at least. But let's go and get into the season, shall we? My first ever live game on camera in the 4th live stream we've done. The rest have all been transfer specials. But we start the Premier League season with what on paper is a fairly friendly run, to be honest. We've got Nottingham Forest, Wolves, Fulham, a cup game and then Derby. And then Tottenham's where it starts to get a bit trickier. And then we've got that horror run in October and November, which will probably be 2 or 3 streams in. So I know we won't get as many games done today as normal, but we'll try and get a few done. Maybe get to the end of January. No idea what we're on about there. We've had a brilliant pre-season. The dynamics are okay. The dressing room atmosphere is struggling a bit. Trevor O'Callaghan partly responsible. And we have lost a couple of senior players, of course, particularly those midfielders. We've kept Darnell Furlong on for 1 more year. Backup right back's halved his waged, and then we'll go and move on next season and try and find another young right back. But we've still got Callum Bonner there, don't forget, so he'll be first choice this season. The other one we've got to talk about, and the one that's a little bit more interesting, is the pre-agreed deal for January. So we've got Jay Winslade on loan, who I don't know if you remember, joined last January for a year, and he's going to be replaced in January by 17-year-old Graham Ruthven, I think that is, from Newcastle Jets in Australia. Already a full international. And I mean, look at his attributes for a 17-year-old. He's joining on a low wage. The scouts think he's going to be sensational and already first choice. And to be honest, he looks as good as Wardley, if nothing else. So with 45 professional games under his belt at 17, he looks like he's going to be a star. He'll be 18 when he joins us, but certainly someone we can get excited about. But we're at home to Nottingham Forest today, the first game of the season. If we have a look at the season preview, see what the media think. They predict us to get relegated and Nottingham Forest. So one of the 2 sides on paper we should be beaten. Charlie, you've gone for a 2-1 Burnley win. Anyone else? Let me know what you think the score's going to be. L Gaming, is there someone that you have seen on your scout reports who you want to sign? Let's have a look. I think we got most of them. We have been scouting continuously, but most of them obviously over 18, so we have to ignore them. The one thing I have done, if we go to the scouting centre, I've changed the general focus to young players in here. So rather than looking for experience, peak or all, we've just gone young players. But unfortunately, most of those still 19, 20, 21. In terms of the 18-year-olds, this is what we've got left. So the best one is Phil Fenton, but he's a centre-half who can't head it. And at left-back, we've already signed a brilliant player. So I don't know what else. We're trying to look for British players if we can, but they're often so expensive or the clubs won't sell them. We had one attacking midfielder who we were looking at. It was this guy. So his is probably the one that we were looking at. Tom Volga, a centre midfielder and attacking midfielder. 18 years of age, and we've still got till January to sign him if need be. His date of birth's April. He's a great passer, great vision. Classic number 10 really. So he's probably the one, if anyone, that we'd like to sign by January. L Gaming, you think 3-1. Jonah, come on. 1-1. You've got to give us a bit of faith. Surely we can get a win first game. We don't want a slow start to the season. We always fall away. If we have a slow start, I don't know what we're going to do. If we draw this game, we've got to be worried about relegation. But I appreciate your honesty. It's a very bold move. Let's go and get into it. It's Burnley v Nottingham Forest. Even head-to-head record. Vinicius, we mentioned, is ineligible. And Sunday Balogun, this is the big news. And this is, if Jonah didn't know, probably why you predict a draw. The best striker, one of the best in the world, definitely the best at the club, despite what the star ratings say. Got injured at the African Nations Cup, coming off the bench for Nigeria, and unfortunately, he today is not going to be available to play. He's now worth 31 million and on 50 grand a week, but he is not going to be available for this one. So he's only a twisted ankle. He should be fit for Wolves off the bench, definitely for Fulham from the start. But it's going to be a little bit of a difficult game today as a result. So we're going to introduce you to the new 11 today and a few of the youngsters that are making their way in. There are still a couple we've been trying to sell. So Jamie Higgins we've been trying to sell. We might loan out Whitehouse. We're waiting to see on that front. But otherwise, we've got a sort of blend. We've got rid of a lot of the first team players, the central midfielders in particular. We also talked about right back. Furlong's dropped to back up. And we've got that in a couple of other areas too. But there's still a few of those players left that won't be here long term. So Wardley, Flauhaut, who else is in there? Torres, Ossie Robinson, Vinicius Xavier. They're the 5 in the lineup that don't qualify for Homegrown. So this season will be their last at the club, I would imagine, at the very most 18 months. Because we have to get there within 2 years or we've probably failed. A couple of others. Joe, welcome along this morning. Thanks for getting involved. 3-1 Burnley. Jonah, I always seem to find young players in Scotland, so it might be worth looking through. I actually agree with that. We've taken off a few of the leagues, particularly the smaller ones in Europe that we had on just for the head coach. But Scotland I always keep on. I remember back in FM19 with Torquay, the one club series, I had a player called Owen Jack. We signed him from Alloa for about £6,000 and he went on and became worth 13-14 million I think he went for. He was one of those who took us up from League 2 to the Championship. And then the board accepted an offer that was too good to refuse. And I'm sure it was 13.5 million. He was absolutely incredible. So yeah, Scottish players, always ones we look out for. Northern Ireland as well. Obviously this year's Dorking Wanderer series, Peter McLaughlin was incredible. He came up and I think he's still playing for us in the Premier League. But I think he came from Ballymonard, who have got a famous youth academy in Northern Ireland. But he was brilliant for us. Joe, just doing my schoolwork. Good luck with it. It's a bit of an interesting time for you, but I hope you enjoy it and I hope it keeps you through your schoolwork and gives you a bit of entertainment or a bit of light relief at least. But this is the lineup we've gone for. A few players that have been in and around the squad the last couple of years at a head coach who are now getting their chance. So the main amongst those are Callum Bonner at right back. He's obviously overtaking Furlong this year, now 19. Resolute personality, improving greatly, and he's going to be a Premier League star. So we've got no problem with him being in. We've also brought in, obviously, Summerskill and Rob Simpson are homegrown, as is Owen Edmonds. We've brought into the starting lineup Ashley Harrott as the number 10. Signed at 16 from Sheffield United, and he's now been here 2 years. Next season, he will become homegrown at the club, and he's now our best number 10. So he's going to be involved this season. Probably a slight downgrade on Villalba at the start of last year, but we've only got to stay up this season. So we're hoping for 1 year of solid mediocrity, and then we'll move on. And with Balogun injured, of course, Leon Lowry comes in up front. Long term, I'm afraid we're not going to be able to have Sunday Balogun here. So we have to. Jonah, back to college next Wednesday. Just in time for the summer, eh? Perfect timing as the weather gets better. But there we go. I guess the thing is, things are gradually starting to go back to normal. I know it myself, working in the NHS, we're starting to do routine services again. It's sort of a bit of a balance between people who are still scared to go out of their house and people who are trying to bash the door down to get in. And you're just trying to find that healthy balance of, yes, you can come in if you need it, but we've got to take precautions. Gaming, I found a big star from Wales on my save, and he is 18, so there might be one on yours. I have had a couple from Wales in the past. Even in, was it Dorking this year we had it? Thomas Anthony, a left back. I'm sure we signed him in the National League or National League North. Or National League South, sorry, Dorking Wanderers. And I'm sure he left us in League One. He was our first big sale for about $500,000. Not world class or anything, but certainly a good youngster. I've tried a couple of those Build a Nation challenges as well in Wales, with like a TNS or a Bangor. Who did I do one with before? Port Talbot, when they were in the top tier. They had a few old players released from Swansea, and I did a Youth Academy challenge with them, and they did have a few good young players coming through. And obviously, they've had some good ones in real life. The likes of Giggs, Bale, Ramsey, Joe Allen the last few years. They've had some really good players, and they've got a few more now as well. But this is the lineup we've gone for. Is Summerskill in goal, Bonner, Simpson, Flauhout and Wardley the back four. Torres, who had a brilliant season last year, in midfield with Robinson, Xavier and Edmonds. And then Ashley Harrett in the number 10 behind Leon Lowry up front. Trevor O'Callaghan's on the bench, still rated the best striker at the club, despite his attributes being pretty average. Even the key ones for the role, I mean, look at them, the ones that are highlighted. 7, 9, 12, 9, 12, 12, 13, 12. How is he rated as world class by the scouts? I don't understand it. Jack Vaughan's on the bench, another one of the young stars. He's going to get a chance at some point. And then Paul Richards, the other 19-year-old, he joined us a year ago and will become homegrown at the club too. And he's going to be a very good central midfielder. Potentially a replacement for one of the two in there at the moment. Dwight McNeil's off the bench if we need him. And there's a few others about as well. But let's play our first live game on camera, shall we? A new thing, we haven't done it before. Please let me know if there's any technical issues. I've turned down the specs a bit, so hopefully it'll work. But fingers crossed. I've just seen Charlie's comments, which has made me giggle. Fingers crossed there won't be any issues here. I've taken off a few of the leagues, so as they come off, it will gradually get quicker as well. But thank you to everyone who's joining along. Please do put a thumbs up on the video if you haven't already. It makes such a difference. I'm so grateful that you're all getting involved in the chat. It really makes it more enjoyable, getting to interact with people. Joe, it's maths. Actually, that was probably my favourite academic subject. I used to be very good at maths, and I used to hate English. And science, pretty ironically, is the one that I've ended up closest to working in a GP surgery. Charlie, is Deshaun Bernard available? Probably yes, but he also wouldn't meet the Youth Academy Challenge specs, as he's probably about 25 now. And he scarred me enough on this channel this year from the network save, over on your podcast actually, so I don't want to be doing that again. We're just waiting for this to load up, taking a while, not quite sure of the reasons, but here we go. I forgot, Forest has got Sebastian Mille, haven't they? He's in the number 10 role. He's playing a debut against us. That's going to be good for him. A few real players left there, but lots of young attacking regens. And from all over the world by the looks of it. So this is going to be a tough test. Forest expected to finish bottom. We're media predicted to finish 18th. But don't forget, they thought we were going to be bottom last year. And look where we finished, up in 7th. We didn't get into Europe, which is the most disappointing thing. Unfortunately, both FA Cup finalists got a place, which hasn't happened for a few years, I don't think. But that means that we missed out on Europe despite a top 7 finish. And these youngsters will get less games this season as a result. Leon Lowry's good to go despite the lack of fitness. And we are into our first game with Burnley on stream. Let me know how it plays out. I've put the frame rate back to a sort of more regular one. I've tried to make it run as smoothly as possible. So let me know if there's any issues. We're only on key highlights though, so we shouldn't see too much from the games. I don't want us to be stuck doing 1 or 2 games a stream. I want to get through 5 or 6. Here's our first highlight with Ian Wardley. And we're playing down the left-hand side. Into the middle. We've got a good spell with Harrett here. And it's good to see some of the youngsters involved in the attacks. Edmonds crosses Torres on the volley. Oh, Lowry on the rebound. It's a 1-0 lead. Ferran Torres with one of the sweetest strikes you will ever see. And then Lowry just poaching on the rebound. A brilliant goal from the youngster. And long term, that is a very good sign for this Youth Academy challenge. Apologies if there's any slight jitters in the play. Let me know. The Gamer 1013. Welcome along. Joe, it's trigonometry. I can't help you with that, I'm afraid. Ball's back, and I think we've given away a penalty here. Callum Bonner, yep, it's a penalty. Not such a good start for another one of our Youth Academy players. Callum Bonner has conceded a penalty. Collett steps up. Summerskill, almost the hero. Got a hand to it. Almost started to dive to his right. Then stood still as it was going down the middle. Got a strong hand to it, but it was thunderbolted. And unfortunately, it's 1-1. 20 minutes in. Thank you to everyone who's popping along. Appreciate seeing new and familiar faces. If you are new to the stream and you haven't yet, please put a thumbs up on it. Just makes it stand out a bit more and attracts more people to it. And I'd love to build the community to be bigger and better in the future. As Nottingham Forest are causing us a few headaches early on here. But we're forcing them back with the press here. We've got the tactic identical to last year. We didn't want to change too much. And Millet gets it wide out to the right hand side. And just a reminder now, this stream series is in addition to our normal content as Millet nearly scores. That would have been a bit of a sickener. So today there will still be a video at 4:30 from the head coach. Still be the normal one. So don't worry about that. It's not going to be replaced as Lowry heads over the bar. We will still have our daily FM videos, and then this will be a bonus on Tuesday mornings. We've got a corner with Edmonds. Into Lowry, down to Simpson. Oh, it's bobbling around all over the place. No one gets on the end of it though. And half an hour gone is still 1-1. And not many of the shots have gone on target for either side. Seems more like speculative efforts. And we've got the issue that we feared with this young squad. Lots of young players in the team, and they're all a bit nervous. Although most of them are the experienced ones, ironically. So we're going to tell the lads it's disappointing. We're going to go to our tactic. I don't know what else we can really do. I think we're just going to stick as we were before. Positive mentality. And see if we can make a difference from here. L Gaming, do I have a Discord set up for the channel? Not yet, I'm afraid. It is something I'm looking at. To be honest, until about 6 months ago, I'd never even heard of it. I know that lots of the YouTubers and ones I follow have it as well. It's something I will look at getting set up, hopefully in time for FM21. If I can combine it with the sort of release of that, I think that would be good timing. So at this time of the year, it's quite difficult and you don't really get that sort of influx of people. So I don't know how you feel about it, but I'd probably like to learn about it and do it properly in 4 or 5 months rather than a half-hearted attempt now. So in the meantime, I'll continue to stream so I can get involved with people. But long term, yes, I will create a Discord. As Lowry's into the box, nearly scores again. But with 20 to go, I'm not sure we're going to get a winner here, you know. Sunday Balogun's really been missed. Not many shots on target. And no striker creating his own chances from nothing. Here's Bunce down the left-hand side. Torres tries to intercept. It's a flying tackle. Doesn't get anywhere near the ball, though. Terenzi crosses into the box. Oh, no, Millet. Blocked. And it's, and again, Summerskill. What a save. What a save by the keeper. Let's make some changes. Ossie Robinson replaced by Phil Richards. Vaughan can come on the right wing for Ferran Torres. And who else can we take off? They're all doing all right aside from that. Maybe right back if we bring Furlong on, because Bonner gave away the penalty. He's not had a great game. Or do I bring on Trevor O'Callaghan? Because don't forget, he's supposed to be the hero here. So let's do that. Richards attacking midfield. Vaughan to the centre of midfield. Lowry out to the right wing. And Callaghan on up front. And let's make those changes and get back into it. And we'll do the tactics in a minute. Let's make sure we see out this corner first. The last thing we want is to be behind. Ball into the box. Summerskill claims. That's really good goalkeeping. He made a fabulous save there. And he's kept us in it as well. And we're continuing the highlight as we play out. Simpson goes long. Brought down and finds Lowry on the right hand side. He's got time. Finds Vaughan. Out to Lowry again. And he's just giving it away. That's a really poor ball. And Forest, to be honest, look a little bit the better side here. And that's even more worrying. Considering they're expected to finish bottom and they've just been promoted. Doesn't bode well for the rest of the season. Bonner with the ball forward. Intercepted but only finds Richards. Up to O'Callaghan. Chance to bring it down. Holds it up well. And can he finally live up to the hype that the coaches seem to have for him? Here's Wardley. Back inside the Flauhout. We're keeping the ball, but we're not really going anywhere. And that's the concern. But that's the ball. Lowry in again. There we go. 2-1. That is the worst attempt at a forward roll I've ever seen in celebration. But we lead 2-1, and we can now make the tactical tweaks. Lowry as the inside forward on support or attack, whichever he prefers. Richards, advanced playmaker on attack. Bonner can be a fullback on defend for now. Just see out the victory. And that's what we'll do for the last 15. But it looks like we're going to get away with it and we're going to win. Charlie, I've bought on Trevor, but he's not the hero today, I'm afraid. Thank you for all of you getting involved in the chat. Everyone who's put a thumbs up on it, I do appreciate it. And whoever predicted 2-1, you might be right. Although Edmonds is in. It's a good save, and the 3-1s might have been on board there. We've got 15 minutes left to get El Gaming and Joe right, but at the moment, Charlie, it looks like you might have nailed this, mate. Unfortunately, Jonah, your score's out the window. 5 minutes to go, and hopefully we can get 3 points on the board here. I'm going to do it even though we're streaming early on. We're going to go balanced. I'm sorry for the lack of entertainment this is going to bring. We're going to time waste. We're going to be more disciplined. We're going to slow the pace down. I'm waiting for Charlie's comment about there's the time wasting. And we'll drop the line of engagement too. No need to press the keeper. Let's just hold on for dear life. A 2-1 victory would be a good one. So I'm sorry to those of you that predicted 3-1 because I'm probably stopping that from happening. Although it could be 2-2 here. Into the box. Simpson gets it away. What an intervention by the two centre-halves. Flauhout, the new skipper at the club, with the first one. And it's cleared away. The corner's headed clear by Flauhout. Surely that's it. The 3 minutes are up. Blow the whistle, referee. Although, hang on. Richards is in. Don't blow the whistle. There's 2 in the box. One of them's O'Callaghan. And his header straight at the keeper. But the final whistle goes. It is a 2-1 victory. Leon Lowry the hero, and despite being rated worse than Balogun and worse than Trevor O'Callaghan, he was the man in front of goal as O'Callaghan spurned his late chance. A 2-1 victory, we're pleased with the lads, and 3 points to start the Premier League season. Thank you for everyone adding thumbs up. I can see that creeping up again. Your support has been fantastic on a Tuesday morning. Let me know how you're getting on. If there's any issues, just make the most of being involved in the chat. It's a good community here, and I'm sure everyone will help out if they can. Let me know also down in the comments, please, how it was the first game. How did it play out? Was it smooth? It's something I've got to work on for the future streams. I've never played a game on stream before. I've only ever done the transfer window, so I don't know how it plays out. So let me know if it played all right, if you could see it, if it was smooth, and how the highlights looked. But Leon Lowry is going to be getting all of our praise today. Fantastic from him. Of course, the transfer window shuts before the Premier League season, something that looks likely to change in real life. But that means that we can just fly between the weeks now. We'll have a look at where that leaves us in the table after the full round of fixtures. But for now, very good signs early on, although Forest did push us and they're expected to finish bottom. So you can see all these scout reports here. Nearly all of them over 18. In fact, all of them there, so we can't do anything. Ashley Harrott, we're not selling him. Is he near the end of his contract or something? 2032? No. There's no one out of contract this season, apart from Robinson and Furlong. Robinson I'd like to keep, but he's unhappy. And Furlong's 33, so he probably won't sign after this. But a good start to the Premier League season. There's 3 more games to be played, and then we'll see where it leaves us. El Gaming, the game quality was good. That's fantastic news. Thank you for letting us know. I'm really glad that's worked, because the frame rate has often caused a few issues in the past. And of course, we're on Virgin Media Internet. Now, I'm not going to get political here, but it hasn't been good the last few weeks. Into Sunday, let's see how the games play out. If there's anything else you want to know about the channel, about me in general, or you just want to ask questions and get involved in the chat, please do. Because we're going to have this bit of time between the games where there's not a great deal going on. And we'll try and get through them as quick as possible. We have sold an extra 500 season tickets this year. Which, considering, actually, in our first Premier League season after 4 or 5 years away, we finished 7th. That's not great. I would have thought we'd get maybe 1,000, 2,000 more. I guess the biggest game was when we came up to the Premier League, but that still seems a little bit low for me. Thank you to everyone getting involved in the comments. Thank you to everyone who put a thumbs up on it on Twitter as well. Not a thumbs up, a like, whatever it is. I'm not great with social media. Thank you to all of you that got involved there. You can go and follow me over on Twitter. You can keep up to date with the episode. You can also obviously get involved with the podcast channel. I've been really fortunate the last couple of months. I don't talk about it too often, but I've been able to interview probably 6 or 7 current or former professionals. Charlie, who's in the chat, has done a few as well. And some of them have been incredible. I mean, you get such a bad rap in the media for footballers. And the ones that we've had on have given us so much time, been so honest, and really helped us out as well. I mean, last week we had Anthony Sarcevic on from Plymouth. And it's got about 500-600 views. It's gone absolutely insane. And he's been so involved with it. We had Neil Wainwright the week before, and he's one of my heroes from football management games. My first ever management game, I think, was LMA Manager 2001, followed by LMA Manager 2003. And on that second game, I had Neil Wainwright as a right winger. He was by far the best player in the league. He came and joined Luton a division higher, and was by far the best player in that league as well. And interviewing him, he was just exactly what I expected him to be. He was brilliant. He talked so honestly about his career, where he failed as a potential wonderkid. and the brilliant career he then still had in the Football League, being a legend at a club that folded, and his work as a youth academy coach now, trying to right the wrongs that he had along the way. It really is brilliant. And he got involved on Twitter, both in the comments on YouTube. He had a chat and responded to people who interacted with the video. It was just brilliant. So I can't thank the pros enough that have been on. Charlie had David Robertson from the Real Kashmir documentary, and he was incredible as well. We've had a few others. Nicky Shorey, an England international. Tony Thorpe, for me as a Luton fan, was a brilliant one. I mean, it's just a dream come true to interview professional footballers. Let's have a look at the chat again. Joe, you've attempted your maths. Fair play to you. Tuesday morning. Yeah, I guess you'd probably be in lessons normally, but it's hard to motivate yourself when you're at home. I understand that. Don't worry about it. L Gaming, what's your favourite type of save in Football Manager? That's a tough question, you know. Before this, and probably still now, if I'm being honest, it's the one club story. So, Dorking Wanderers this year, Torquay last year. And the reason I say that probably is because you get to grow that attachment to the club, to the players. When you get a homegrown one through after building the youth facilities up for decades, it does make it more special. I really enjoy the head coach one that we've done. Obviously, Burnley featured in that. And that's obviously a more popular one probably on the channel generally. The views are generally double that than they are for the one club story, because people like to see a journeyman. They like a director of football challenge, which is quite unique on YouTube. To have both of those things combined, and obviously to not have any say in anything at all, is something that most people don't want to put themselves at risk of, because it slows the series down. We've got a good draw in the Carabao Cup. We've got Shrewsbury of League One, which is great. Should be a chance for some youngsters to get game time. And we're almost through to the next game already. So I'd probably say just about the One Club Challenge, to be honest. It really is the one that I get most attached to. The Youth Academy ones I've done a couple of times, always failed, but always enjoyed. I used to love the San Marino Challenge as well, Building a Nation. So there's 3 or 4 types that I really enjoy. Next year I'm thinking about doing the Youth Academy one as a main story, and then maybe the One Club story as a stream save, or maybe doing a Build a Nation challenge, whatever it may be. But obviously this one and the head coach are ideal for streaming because you're not involved in the transfers so much. And if you don't have to do much there, it means that realistically you can spend more time in a chat, more time getting involved, and more time playing games. So I guess at the same time, I'd say mine's probably just the One Club story. Let me know what your favourites are. If you play Football Manager as well, what are your favourite stories? When you're watching on YouTube, what are your favourite types of stories? It's always important to learn and to know. And who have you had the most success with in the past? Have you had any clubs where you did brilliantly with? Oh, Gaming, you said in the comments the other day you went to the Cricket World Cup. Which games did you go to and what was your favourite one? So I only went to 2 games. Thank you again to everyone who's joining along. Please do put a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. It's great to see so many of you here on a Tuesday morning. In Cricket World Cup, I only went to 2. So I went to England v Afghanistan, which I probably have to pick out as the favourite because it became the record-breaking game where England smashed sixes galore. Was it Owen Morgan, the 17 or 18 sixes in an innings, where he broke the record? So I was at that game, which was brilliant. And I was also at West Indies v Afghanistan. So the England one was in Manchester, Old Trafford, and the other one, the West Indies one, was at Headingley in Leeds. And my mate lives literally round the corner from there, so it was perfect. They were both brilliant prices. I think the West Indies one was 16 quid, the England one was 18 or 22. So for that price, to get a whole day of action, it was a fantastic day out on both occasions. I really enjoyed it. And to be honest, as much as we criticise big governing bodies for sport in England, the ECB did an incredible job with that, as did the ICC. Unfortunately, the only negative of the day actually was the little radios that you bought to go to like Ashes tests, that where you have the in-ear radio pieces. They didn't work because they weren't compatible with the ICC commentary. So that was the only negative, because they tried to go after another tenner out of you. But aside from that, I can't complain at all. I don't know if you can see it here. I'll try and put it up there. I've got the cup from the ground as well, from the second one. And you'll notice that in all of my live streams when I'm going. So we're nearly at game time for the second of the season. Our first away game at Wolves, who obviously lost their first game. Thank you for everyone getting involved in the chat and watching along. I do appreciate it. I've got a Wrexham save on FM and I'm about to get them to the Championship. Fair play. It's a nice step up. That's the thing, really. It's one of the things that annoys me sometimes with the one club story is it's too tempting. If you use the player search screen, you just fly through the leagues because you can pick out players better than AI managers. And realistically, player search list is not something you would have. So for me, as I don't use the player search screen to try and prolong it and make it more realistic. But I completely understand the reasons for it. I mean, when I was young, I used to use it all the time and go, yes, look, I'm in the Premier League in 6 years. But now I guess I've changed my way a little bit in that sense. So in terms of the lineup today, Sunday Balogun's not quite fit enough for the bench either. He's at an increased risk of injury, so I'm not going to put him in there. Other than that, I think we're going to go for the same 18. There's no need for us to change the squad. Let's just go with it. Same 11, same 18. I'm keeping my eye on Ossie Robinson. He's playing in his preferred duty, but he's not having a great time of it. And if he has a poor spell, I'm just going to bring Jack Vaughan in. But let's go into the game. It's Wolves v Burnley. Wolves lost their first game, and we're going to try and heap the misery on them in this second one. Thank you to everyone who's popping along still. I do appreciate it. There's a full stream replay afterwards, so you can catch up afterwards if you've missed anything. We went through our summer signings, the under-18s. Dwight McNeil's back as well. The poster boy of this series now. And we'll go through to the tunnel interview with half the team motivated. Sunday Balogun is absolutely not ready. George Bello being injured is not going to make a big difference. But let's go and get into it. It is the first game of the season. I tell you what, actually, that George Bello, is that the left back who got sold from Borussia Mönchengladbach? Well, we moved over in the head coach on Saturday and we said the best left back had left the club for big money. I'm sure it was him. It was Wolves who nicked him, but we've nicked the ball early on. It's Edmonds into the box. There's a 2-on-1. Oh, it's a bit greedy, Owen. You could have passed that and Lowry had a tap into an empty net, or at least half an empty net. But it's gone out for a corner after the save. Edmonds puts it in. Lowry can't get on the end of it. And he's got the ball on the right-hand side as the defender doesn't get there. Beats two, cuts it to Xavier, and it's cleared away by Andrade. Good challenge by Robinson. He's given a foul there. I think he held him up all right, but a yellow card given, and that's a bit of a tightrope for a player who's on the edge of his place in the team, to be honest. Here's Braganca on the left-hand side to Gibbs-White. Another good youngster in real life. To Moore. Back to Braganca. Into the box. Catrone loses out. Falls to Barella. Andrade blocked. Cleared away by Edmonds, and now we can counter. Lowry can't get there, but it falls for Edmonds again. He's looking a new lease of life this season. Here's a 2-on-2. Will he pass this time? That's a penalty. Has to be a penalty. Come on, Craig Pawson. Get to VAR. He's given it. It will be taken by Ashley Harrott. His rating is 13, the best at the club. Can he put it in though? A young player, under a lot of pressure, and he scores. Into the bottom corner. Burnley have the lead. Joe, you've gone for 2-0. There's the first one. I'm doing a save where I do all the transfers for Carlisle, but I don't play any games. So that's an interesting way of doing it. And I've sort of understand it because I always used to love the transfer window, the graft of getting through transfers, trying to get the best players in the club. But managing the games, particularly when you're getting young players in, can be really frustrating. So it's something I've thought about doing in the past. I've never quite had the guts to then do it. I always find a way to say I want to take charge. I want to have the ownership again. Oh no. But I can completely understand the reasons you do it. Owen Edmonds, finally, after scoring a penalty, has now conceded one. And there's a lot of penalties this season, isn't there? Barella scored it. We had one in the last game and two already here. That's 3 penalties in 115 minutes. It's a bit bizarre. There's my maths going wrong. But it's 1-1 here. And again, it's a story of the penalties. Charlie, any advice for a sprained knee? So I hope you don't mind. I'm going to tell this story. As we score again, Ferran Torres puts it in. I was just looking at the chat and we've already scored. Edmonds sets it up and he redeems himself for the penalty giveaway. So myself, Charlie and Craig, who are the 3 podcast hosts over on the Honest Football podcast, we did a social distance football meet up on Sunday at 3:30, scheduled back from 4 o'clock. So I arrived 15 minutes late because I was recording a video as Summerskill tips one onto the post there. Charlie and Craig were spraying the ball about and we then put a couple of cones out and played a little bit of football. After 15 minutes, Charlie tried to do the Gianfranco Zola flick, for those of you who are old enough, where you put one leg behind the other and try to flick the ball in past Craig. And he landed on his knee, which he'd previously ruptured his ACL, and he managed to get himself injured, down in agony. Thankfully for him, it was just a sprain. He got back up, we managed to play a little bit more. And then Craig, a centre-half, thought he would have a go at a fancy volley and volleyed it well over a fence, which ended that outing. It's 2-1 at half time, but all in all, a disastrous 25 minutes, and we still all felt knackered afterwards. So the levels of fitness have not improved. We've all come back from serious injuries and not done very well. L Gaming, I think it'll be 3-1 now. I tell you what, you might not be wrong here. 10 minutes into the second half, and as we reach the hour mark, we're going to have to make changes again. Ossie Robinson not had the best game. Leon Lowry not today either, actually. I'll leave it 5 more. Wardley with a throw on the left to Harrott. Back to Wardley, into Edmonds. Chance to turn, but he played safe. Into Lowry, headed away. Ossie Robinson there. I thought he was going to foul him. He didn't, but it might have been a bad choice in the end. Oh, Simpson's done it instead. And he's on a booking. We're going to have to deal with 10 men. You can write 3-1 out of the window there. Rob Simpson with a sending off. What's happening this start of the season? We've got to stay on our feet on. Last year, there was barely a penalty. There was barely a red card. And now it's all happening here. A bit of a strange one. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do here. I'll have to sacrifice Harrott. He'll drop back into centre defence and be replaced by Rod Coleman. Up front, Lowry's going to be replaced by O'Callaghan. And in midfield, as Robinson's on a yellow, I've got to now take him off as well. Jack Vaughan will come on for him. The wingers, I'm going to have to drop to support duties. I know it isolates O'Callaghan, and it's probably not fair to him as we drop Bonner to a defensive duty too. To bring him on and then say, oh, why aren't you scoring when we're leaving him isolated? But to be honest, 2 banks of 4 is important now. We're going to do it very early. We're going to start the time wasting. We're going to be disciplined. We can run at the defence more because we're not going to be passing it about so much. We can distribute anywhere in the defence, but we'll slow it down. We can drop our lines of engagement and not prevent a short goalkeeper distribution. So there we go. 25 minutes to go, down to 10 men, but still leading 2-1 as it stands. Thank you to everyone who's popping along. The number of views and likes continuing to creep up. Your support on a Tuesday morning for a new stream series is incredible. Thank you so much. It's only my 4th ever one, so go easy on me. I hope there's no technical issues or anything like that. As Gibbs White puts it in, this is 2-2. Oh, what a save. Summerskill nearly beaten from Catrone, but he manages to keep it out. And with 20 to go, we're still clinging on. I know we're inviting pressure a bit, but I think we've got a good defensive side and hopefully we'll at least be able to get a draw. Gelson back to Dodo. It's still Wolves on the attack, but we see out the highlight pretty comfortably in the end. I don't want to drop O'Callaghan too deep too early, but I feel like it's going to have to happen in a few. We'll get to 85, so basically we'll see out this highlight and then we'll make the change. Simpson with a switch of play to Edmonds. If we could nick one on the break, it would be amazing. And Edmonds has got the chance to run at the defence. O'Callaghan's gone wide, but he's now running back in. Edmonds into the box, shoots and scores! What a goal! That was almost Ryan Giggs against Arsenal. What a run, he beat 3 or 4. O'Callaghan made the diversion run. And with 5 to go, we'll drop the line of engagement and just make sure we see this out. What a fantastic goal from Owen Edmonds, one of the homegrown stars. And he is one of the men who is going to be stealing the show for us here. A fantastic run and goal. And that should be enough to see out the game. Wolves coming forward into stoppage time. Maffio back to the edge of the box. They're not really going anywhere though. They're just playing it about. And we nick it high up with Torres and Vaughan. Vaughan on the counter. Running alone. O'Callaghan had drifted offside. But Vaughan into the box shoots. Saved. And the second attempt held. It was a tame effort. And he probably should have got it first time, the Wolves keeper. Out to Dodo at right back. But Wolves not going to get anything here. Yes, 3-1 L Gaming. You've nailed it. It is a 3-1 victory for Burnley. You used to have a YouTube channel where you upload all of the Wrexham videos. But I deleted the account a few weeks ago. Fair play, I mean, making the YouTube videos, it's hard work. A lot harder work than you think it's going to be at the start. Particularly the editing and that for me, because I always fluff my lines. I mean, it doesn't matter so much in the streams. You're going to get something wrong in an hour and a half, 2 hours. But in terms of doing it as a regular video basis, I think I was probably guilty before of over-editing it. And then I went through a stage where I was rushing a bit. I was trying to broadcast. And you'll notice it was a little bit unnatural at the start of the FM20 content. But the last couple of weeks, streaming's really helped. Probably since about the start of April, I feel much more natural. Just doing it in my normal tone. So you know who the real me is. If you like it, great. If you don't, I'm not going to hold it against you. Do you know what I mean? So there's no problem with that. This is my style. This is me being comfortable. I'm not really a ranter and raver. I'm not the one on the sideline who would be screaming their guts off at the referee or whatever. I was always quite a calm player. I'm normally the one going, relax, calm down, we'll find a way. So hopefully a few of you are entertained by that and you'll still pop along for the live streams. Thank you for the extra thumbs up on the video. Charlie, I've got to go and sort out my uneven driveway, as well as icing the knee. Look after that knee, will you? We need some football again soon. Thanks for the kind words, mate. I do appreciate it. For those of you that are joining along, thank you again for your incredible support. There'll be a full replay afterwards. And don't forget, this is now a bonus save. So every Tuesday morning we'll have this, but there will still be the normal video at 4:30. And today it's our second game at the club that replaced Burnley in the head coach, and it's Borussia Mönchengladbach. So make sure you pop over and see that. I mean, the first episode on Saturday with them did incredibly. I think it got nearly over 150 as I look now, which is probably double what I'd normally get. So thank you so much for your support with those. We're going to get some of the youngsters that aren't playing involved in the under-23s. So Glenn Stevens, Craig Robinson, Andy May, who's back from loan, Carl Whitehouse the same. The young goalkeeper from Argentina, he can do it. Vinicius can only play in the 23s. And Fabio, the 18-year-old centre-half. I'm not going to put Balogun there yet, but he'll be on the bench against Fulham at a minimum. But it's all going very well so far. 2 wins out of 2. We're playing against sides who we should be probably beating if we want to be a top-half team. But we were expected to finish 18th, and we've got 2 wins on the board. So it's starting in the same vein as last season, and that's a positive. So I don't know what you think, but I'm fairly optimistic given those 2 performances. The Rob Simpson red card, probably a little bit of a dampener on proceedings, but otherwise looking very good so far. Thank you to everyone who's popping along. Do appreciate it. Do get involved in the chat. Let us know how you're getting on. As we're 2 games into the season, the window's shut. Dwight McNeil's back at his club. He's back at Burnley as the backup left winger. But he's not going to be getting in the first team anytime soon, especially if Owen Edmonds keeps scoring goals like he did in that one. It was a very eventful game for him. 2 goals, an assist, and gave away a penalty. He was involved in all 4 goals. We should have the Checker Trade Trophy starting soon as well, or the leasing.com as it is. So we should be able to get a few of the youngsters' football there, as well as the Shrewsbury Cup game. I want to very least get to the Derby game today. Probably do about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Get towards 12 o'clock. Do you think you can get into Europe this year? I don't know, to be honest. I think last season was probably our best chance. If we'd finished 7th last season and got into Europe, which we should have if it hadn't been for the FA Cup finalists being weird, then I would have said yes probably again. But because we've had to weaken the squad in a couple of areas as the first part of transitioning to homegrown academy players, this year it might be a push. Owen Edmonds injured only 1 to 2 days, that's okay. What I will say with this season, if the likes of Lowry, Harrop, Vaughan, Phil Richards, they're all playing, and Callum Bonner as well, they're playing 20, 25, 30 appearances. By next season, we will definitely make Europe. And it would be nicer if we can do it next season when there's more homegrown players. But obviously, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because if we do get into Europe, it will benefit the youngsters even more, because the second lot coming through can then play in that. But I'm not sure this year, to be honest. I think we'll probably be there or thereabouts and just miss out in that sort of 7th to 10th region. And then if we can nick 7th and that's enough, then great. But I don't think we're going to be any higher than that. We've got Fulham at home next, who have lost both games and have got a worse goal difference in the league so far. So it is a fairly friendly start, you've got to be honest. And if we can win that one, we'll then start to be a bit more optimistic. If we can go into those other games with a really good morale, a really good boost of confidence, and a new feeder club, we should be able to look more positively. So let's make the recommendation. Who have got the best youth facilities? So Oldham, adequate training, basic youth, but geographically that's a very good one. The same for Guiseley in the National League. Fleetwood in League One. I'll tell you what, we're thinking about now, thinking they're a modern club, but they're established now. It's 10 more years. They've got insecure finances and a good youth recruitment. That seems like the club we should go for. So Fleetwood is going to be our feeder club, and if they get any stars through, we'll be able to nick them early. Fleetwood an affiliate club, Fulham coming up next, and then Shrewsbury in the Carabao Cup. Hopefully a chance to see the rest of the youngsters in action. Thank you again for everyone popping along this morning. I really do appreciate it. I've said before, Tuesday morning, I know not perfectly ideal for some people, but it's the only day off work. And NHS has to come first at the moment, I'm afraid. That's why the number of videos reduced. The cricket career went away for a while. The snooker content had to stop by that one-off video. I just haven't got the time to do all of them at the moment, I'm afraid. But we'll try and get as much as possible, and to get involved with a stream save is something I've wanted to do for ages. So there's the partnership with Fleetwood. I think we need to go and have a look to see if they've got any good youngsters. 19-year-old, not good enough. Here's an 18-year-old we're looking at. We can't sign him till January. His birthday is the 3rd, so we can sign him if we get it pre-agreed. Let's acknowledge him, and we'll keep him involved in the scout reports. And let's go and have a look at Fleetwood, shall we? Have they got any young stars in their first team? So no one under 21. Under 23s, a few youth players there, and most of them under 18. The best one looks to be this John Marsden in terms of value. He is 17 years of old, central midfielder. He looks alright, so we'll go and scout him. See what he's like. And then if we go to the under 18s as well, just in case we've missed a gem. But I think the best ones look like they've been promoted. So we're going to scout him, see what he's like, and we could have our first signing from our affiliate club. But as it stands, we're in good shape. We've won 2 games. We're coming back for Fulham. And who are we going to say are favourites to get relegated? Should we go for Forest? We beat them and they didn't look a great side, so we'll say them. Joe, in that save I told you about before, Carlisle were predicted to come 18th. With my signings, we came 4th. Good work. Well done. That's a really good spell, that. I really love Carlisle as well, to be honest. We went there. We talked about it in a stadium review series. Myself and Tom, we went there for the game where Luton got promoted from League 2 just 2 years ago now. It was an unbelievable day out. The train journey from Leeds to Carlisle, we didn't realise it was famous. And it was a fantastic journey. And then Carlisle itself, what a nice place. I don't know if you've ever visited the ground, the outskirts. They've got this sort of, almost like a green. It's really weird going around half the ground. And you can just sit up, there's a little hill and loads of people are mingling on the bank. The 2 sets of fans were chatting away. It was just what an away day should be. There was next to no police presence and everyone just got along. It was brilliant. One of my favourite away days and definitely in my top 5 grounds I've visited in the country. But everything looking good so far. I've even not had a message to say that the stream save isn't healthy, which is the first time that's happened. So I hope that it's smooth and running well for you. We've just reached the hour mark, so for those of you that are still here or have been here the whole way through, thank you so much for your support. If you have missed any of it so far, there'll be a full stream replay available after. But for a new series and something a bit more niche on the channel, I really do appreciate so many of you coming along. If you haven't already, please put a thumbs up on it. It does make a difference. And hopefully we can build this community in the future. Because I love talking football, I love talking FM. And to do that with you guys is incredible. So let's have a look at today's fixture list. We have got a normal 3 o'clock kickoff, I presume. We're not the sort of reputable side they want to put on TV too often. So for these sorts of games, it'll only be 3 o'clock kickoffs. When we get the big boys, that's when it will change. Let me know what you think about the Premier League coming back next week as well. Are you looking forward to it? Championship the same for me. Obviously a Luton fan. We've got a big 9 games ahead of us. And unfortunately, it's all going to be on TV. So my quest to do the 92 probably harmed a little bit. So we've got Sunday Balogun fit for 45 minutes. He can be on the bench today. Owen Edmonds fully fit. And we're just about favourites to beat Fulham. So Rob Simpson suspended. He'll be replaced by Rod Coleman. And on the bench, we will bring on Fabio, the youngster. What else can we do in there? Sunday Balogun on the bench for Robinson or Furlong. Robinson or Furlong? Oh, Furlong, because he's the one who long term isn't going to be here. But that's our 11, is exactly the same, bar the one change due to the red card. So with Simpson suspended, Coleman comes in, Balogun back on the bench, as is Fabio, who comes in for the suspension. And unfortunately, Darnell Furlong drops out the squad. But that's our 18 today. Let's see if we can make it 3-3. Joe, you're a Preston fan. You got us first match back. Well, for our sake, I really hope you don't win that game, I'm afraid. So fingers crossed we can secure our promotion bid. Our survival bid, sorry. I did go to Preston earlier this season. It's a nice ground as well. Really nice ground. I stayed in the Holiday Inn, about a 10-minute walk down the road. It's a nice place. I really enjoyed Preston. Joe, I'm not a Carlisle fan. It never works that way on Football Manager. I rarely do a long-term save with Luton. You just find a club that you really enjoy. And you have a special season like Torquay last year. I absolutely loved that save. Never been to Torquay in my life. The only time I'd heard of them was through Soccer AM in the 2000s. Okay, what's the longest away trip I've been to with Luton? Either that Carlisle one or this season we went to Cardiff. Probably not quite as far, but the only time I've left the country in my life. So that's probably the one that stands out the most. But they're definitely the two. We went to Newcastle as well in the FA Cup, Sunderland League One. So just dotted around the furthest parts of England, really. Not done any of the big southwest ones yet, as Plymouth's always been in winter, or it's been on a Tuesday night and been impossible. Benjit, good morning. Thank you for coming along. Do appreciate it. It's good to see you. Can't wait for the Prem to come back and hopefully Liverpool win the league. I mean, there's no need to put hopefully there, is there? I'm sure it will happen within a week or two. And to be fair, they've deserved it over the season. Whether it had finished or not, they should have been awarded the title. So, fair play to them for getting it. Here's Fulham on the right-hand side. It's been a pretty drab start to this game, actually. We have had a couple of chances, but none on target. Gabokchin's coming forward, and Fulham looking threatening, but Vinikia Xavier nicks it. Here's Ashley Harrott. Chance to come over halfway, and he's got 2 or 3 up in support. An overlapping fullback there. Can he find him? Harrott going along. Finds Torres. Inside him, there's 2. Goes alone, though, into the box. Good effort, good goal. Ferran Torres, first of the season. Second, sorry. A brilliant player. An absolute star last season. And Ashley Harrott with a brilliant run there as well. An assist for him. And he's starting to take home that number 10 role. He's really enjoying it so far. Thank you to everyone getting involved in the chat. It's my favourite part of the stream and it's the main reason I do it. I love to find out how you're all getting along. Obviously, you've helped build this channel to well over 1,000 subscribers. I'm starting to earn a little bit of income from it for the first time, which is brilliant. It means I can improve the channel. Obviously, the last few months we've got a webcam. We've managed to bring the cricket content back. My dream long term is to make it a part-time job for me, which would be I can work part-time in the NHS and then produce more videos and content for this channel, as it would be part-time income. Of course, it's nowhere near that level yet, and it will take a while, and I'll have to keep improving along the way. But your support along the way has been incredible. So thank you everyone who's subscribed, who's liked, who's watching, even getting involved in the comments. Those who watch the adverts, I mean, your support, you don't know how much it means. And with 20 minutes to go here, it looks like we're on for another solid win. So we're going to demand more because a few are getting nervous and apprehensive. But aside from that, it's all looking good so far. Joe, I think you were chasing down an equaliser against us and one of the players wanted the ball from the ball boy but got completely blanked. I tell you what I do remember from that game is, I don't know if you remember it, about 5 or 10 minutes to go, one of our strikers came off the bench, Harry Cornick. They used to bring him on late on. He's now a first teamer because he had pace in behind. And he ran through one-on-one and he had about half the pitch to himself to think about it. And unfortunately, as a result, he spurned the chance. He hit it straight at your keeper. And without that, we would have got a point. And to be honest, we went about 5 months without winning on the road. And that was one of the few games we deserved to get a point from, I think. We were on the back foot a lot of it, but the tactic worked quite well in terms of exploiting the wide areas. Loire in the air as well. So it was a really good game in that sense. But I really enjoyed Preston's Ground. It was a really good place. I like Deepdale. We're going to take Ossie Robinson off for Jack Vaughan. Fabio's making his debut because Rod Coleman's had a poor game at centre-half. And up front, we'll bring on O'Callaghan again. Leon Lowry coming off. Good first game of the season for Lowry, but a little bit quiet since. But as it stands, we're going top of the Premier League. Our game in another 3-1. I'm not sure there's going to be that many goals in this one. But a win looks like it's going to be the right outcome. Thank you everyone who's following along. I can see the views and likes creeping up again. It really is fantastic. Thank you so much for your support. Make sure you check out all the other content on the channel as well. I really feel it's improved the last couple of months. And I'm working hard to make it as good as possible. Into the box is Harrison. Oh no! Harmison scores. We took our eye off the ball and Fulham have got back on level terms. So we're going to go attacking. Oh, that is a sickener. We should be winning these games. Run at the defence, be more expressive. But I think we've blown it, you know. We're going to ask the lads to show some passion. And hopefully in the last few minutes we'll just get one more chance. The young team looking really nervous. And unfortunately, we've dropped our first 2 points of the season. You can argue on the stats Fulham deserved it, and we're going to be disappointed with the lads. Still unbeaten, but the first 2 points dropped. We're off the top of the league, and Shrewsbury coming up in the cup next. Super sub Harmison rescues Fulham. He can't even finish either. That's really annoying. Torres does well. We'll go and praise him. Fabio makes his debut, and we'll deal with the press conference. It'll hurt, the dramatic late equaliser, but, you know, we switched off. Nigel Adkins doing a good job, and I'm sure Fulham will survive based on that. L Gaming, is there another network save coming? Not immediately, but there probably will be. So I've already said with the lads from the podcast, we'll do 2 when FM21 comes out. We'll do 1 on this channel and 1 on the podcast one. So if you're missing that content, we did do one over on the podcast channel, so you can catch that one up as well. Tranmere Rovers had really helped us out in the early days of vlogging, so we did a couple over there. And Wickham as well. We've interviewed a couple of players, and I had an interesting experience with them in FM. So there's another one over there if you've missed it. But otherwise, we'll probably do 1 on each channel for FM21. In the meantime, it will sort of depend how the cricket career goes, probably. This is my priority, the 2 FM stories and the live stream. The cricket career has picked up quite nicely since restarting. It will probably only go on during the summer while there's actually cricket. The West Indies coming over to play England now, so in July that will probably be quite important. But after that, if there's a vacant space on the channel, then I'm more than happy to do another network career. I really enjoyed the Barnet-Chesterfield one. To be honest, it was supposed to be 2 seasons. If we got promoted and hadn't blown it in the playoff final, we would have carried on for another year. So it is entirely my fault for failing with Barnet that we didn't have a second season. Because it doesn't really make sense if you're not in the same league. If we'd gone up and we'd been in League 2 with Craig's Chesterfield, we would have carried on. We're going to take all of these kids out of the under-23 squad, as they're mostly going to play in the Shrewsbury game. I just want to have a little look, actually, to see if there's anyone else in the 23s or 18s who is potentially capable of the first team. I'm keeping my eye on this guy, Ernest and Bang. 2-star ability, 2.5 potential. Again, joined us at 18, so he's young enough that he'll be able to be homegrown at the club. And the under-18s, I think the best one is that Matty Todd. There's a couple of older ones who have got good ability, but not really good enough potential. Danny Bates, a good enough player if we need him. But Matty Todd, centre midfielder, centre half and centre forward. Not really my type of player, but when you're doing a Youth Academy challenge, you don't have that say, do you? Whether it's your player or not, you find a way to make it work. So as a squad player, potentially in the future, he'll be fine. Thank you to everyone who's coming along still. I do appreciate it. Please put a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. Get involved with the chat. We've got a great group here. And it's really nice to interact with you. It's the biggest benefit to streaming, and I'm really enjoying it. I know a few will be back to work and probably catching up with this later. If you are, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming along and checking it out. Let me know how your work's going. Let me know if you're back to school, back to college, whatever it may be. I know there's a lot of controversy at the moment, but the most important thing is looking after your own well-being. A lot of people focus on everyone else and all of the negativity and that, but keep an eye on yourself and make sure you're well. Same for your family and friends. Unfortunately, working in the NHS, I get to see the effect it has on mental health, so make sure you look after it. L Gaming, what made you start YouTube? I tell you what it was, to be honest. There's a couple of things behind this. So about 2-3 years ago, Christmas 2016 coming into the start of 2017, I'd done my double leg break and cruciate ligaments in the ankle, the classic footballer's injury. So later on that year, as FM17 came out, I was just looking for something to do because I was at home on sort of reduced hours. So I was only working in the morning and then home in the afternoon. And then that Christmas, just as I was coming back in my recovery, I then got glandular fever and was knocked out for 3 months. And I just couldn't get out of bed. So I was just trying to find something to put on in the background. And I stumbled on YouTube, I've no idea how, on Lelujo's channel, which he was doing his non-league to legends. So it was FM17. He only had about 5,000 subscribers at the time. And he was at Gainsborough at the start of FM17. And I just got hooked on it. I got completely hooked on that one. So that sort of made me think, oh, that's something I wouldn't mind doing in future. And then about a year later, when I was back to full health and just gradually getting out of the fatigue all the time, then the lads approached me to start doing the podcast, Charlie and Craig. So we were recording 1 video a week. And to be honest, for the first 3 or 4, it just made me realise, I know the quality of it was awful, but how easy it was to make something and get it onto YouTube. I know there was a lot of hard work behind it, the editing, obviously the time to record the videos, play the bits in between that you need to. But it made me realise that the actual technical side of it wasn't as difficult or scary as I thought it was. And the same for streaming. That's what's happened in the last 6 months there. We've reached the Shrewsbury game, so that's mainly the two reasons. So stumbling across the Lujo and knowing it was a thing when I was ill a couple of years back, and then once I reached health again, just the chance to do the podcast with the lads and realising that technically I could do it. It's something that I've always enjoyed. I used to do blogs on the SI forums, the community one. I used to do the San Marino challenge and get involved in that thread. There was a famous one there, Jimbo, who used to run it, and we used to just chat. I used to do 10 years of San Marino. We used to put our blogs up, our achievements and images. It was just a natural progression, really. What made you start doing YouTube? I know you mentioned you did it. What was the reason you started? You heard that you're going back to school earliest 22nd of June. If you don't mind me asking, Joe, what year are you? Because obviously that's the controversy. My other half works in a nursery, so she's gone back the last couple of weeks. And obviously 3 or 4 year olds have no idea how to social distance, which has made it quite difficult and a bit worrying. But fingers crossed at the moment, the curve still looks like it's gradually going down. And if it continues to do so the next couple of weeks with the protests and the schools going back and lots of work people going back, I feel like the country will gradually start to creep back to normal at a more rapid pace. We've got the cup game, so we're going to get a few of the youngsters in here. We'll make some changes to the lineup. You're year 10, so yeah, I don't really see the benefit in the high schools going back. Because I know for you guys in year 11 as well, most of your exams are being done on predicted grades now, aren't they? So if you're not doing the exams, you're not going to learn anything going back. It's mainly, the main reason for schools going back is so that parents can then go back to work to rebuild the economy. If we're being brutally honest, that's the main reason that's happening. So I can understand the frustration a bit and the safety side of it. But unfortunately, at the moment, that's coming second fiddle to the economy collapsing. Rightly or wrongly, that seems to be the reason at the moment. Let's pick our 11 for this. It's a bit of a weird game because I want to keep the homegrown players in, but I need to keep people fit for Saturday. So the likes of Bonner, we're taking a bit of a gamble on. Let's see who else we can get in though. Richard's in. Craig Robinson can have a start. Trevor O'Callaghan can go up front. Who else have we got? Dwight McNeil, he's got to have a game, hasn't he? Let's get him back in. Homegrown star. Attacking midfield. Oh, Vinicius can play the cup game. I didn't realise that. So in that case, McNeil won't start on the left. Vinicius will. Attacking midfield. I can't really find a candidate. Do we play Jack Vaughan there maybe? Can any of the others play attacking midfield? Craig Robinson can, and Phil Richards can, obviously. So I'll tell you what. Richards attacking midfield, Robinson deep line playmaker, and Vaughan Mazzala. Over on the right wing, we can play Leon Lowry, because he's not going to play at the weekend. Harrott's a bit tired, so he'll stay on the bench. McNeil on the bench, though I'll try and get him on. Glenn Stevens, Carl Whitehouse, Darnell Furlong, and Rob Simpson back from suspension. Were there any other youngsters I missed out in defence? No. And then the last sub will be Sunday Balogun. I know Andy May wants a chance, but for Balogun it's all about fitness. So let's get him on the bench and we'll give him an opportunity. Into the game we go. That's the lineup. Lots of new youngsters getting their first outing and lots of new players for us to learn and observe about. Let's see if they can win the game and avoid a shock though. Al Gaming. I found this channel in September last year when I was looking for a cricket save, and then I started watching your FM content as well as they're my two favourite games. Well, I guess firstly that's a little bit lucky, isn't it, for me? Yeah, I mean, probably that sort of time of year was probably some of my worst content, to be honest, because I was rushing it while trying to work full-time in the NHS. It's gradually creeping down the hours now, so I'm hoping that it's improving, and I feel like after being a fairly new YouTuber, I've found my natural style, which is not for everyone, of course. I'm not one of those to dress up and do the stories and the fancy background things and all that, but I'm a massive football fan, and hopefully the love of football and the knowledge of the lower leagues, that's the bit that comes through. Probably a bit more similar to the like of Second Yellow Cards. That's a channel that's quite a good one in that sense as well. A very knowledgeable football man, and as much as I love people like Leluja and that, I just haven't got the nerve to do the story bits yet. The putting on the crowns, the dressing up, the transfer specials, the phone calls with yourself and all of that lot. I haven't got the balls to do that yet, I'll be brutally honest. We're going to move Lowry to an inside forward on attack from the right hand side. Robinson likes to be a central midfielder, so we'll just change him to that. Vaughan can stay in his current role. Vinicius, he can stay there as well. Let's get back into it. We're on the attack early on. Craig Robinson. I will get to the comments eventually. Trying to switch between the two. As I mentioned, I haven't got a multi-screen setup or anything. As Lowry heads over the bar, it's a promising start. Joe, but Lancashire isn't even past its peak. Unfortunately, most places have just plateaued a bit now. I don't think from an NHS point of view it's the right thing for everything to go back to normal. But unfortunately, the economy will come first. We've seen that throughout the last 3 months. I mean, for us, we're having to get people in for routine care just because they want to get people back to normal service. And they're things that realistically shouldn't yet be happening, particularly for some of the patients. I mean, we're being asked to call over 70s in for things, which I know in the peak of summer, I guess the other argument is they're thinking if there's another flare up in autumn, we want everyone in the summer when it's possibly a bit less dangerous. But it's so hard to tell. L Gaming, I started as a Minecraft channel when I was like 5 and then I made a new account. I just wanted to do it and I'm year 8. Absolutely fair enough. I mean, to be honest, as a child, I guess being a different generation, I didn't have a computer till I was, 11? I'd saved up all my money from birthdays and Christmases and whatever the years before from all of the family. We were very working class, so we couldn't afford it ourselves. And, you know, those were great days. We got the computer, we played Football Manager, as Lowry puts one wide. And I think I had an old PS2 till I was about 18 as well, which, it was just great. Those were the days, to be honest. But we used to be up the park playing tennis and football for 2-3 hours every day after school. And it's something that I feel for the kids now, because you can't really do it at the moment. You're told not to, and it's such a loss, the social bit. But the great thing is you can interact online, you can still chat to your mates, there's still Skype, Zoom and all that lot, which is a big difference to when we were growing up if it had happened then. Here's Richards to Vinicius over on the left wing. Chance to cross, but goes alone. Back to O'Callaghan and it's cleared. We're knocking on the door here at Shrewsbury, and surely it won't be long until we get the opener. Here's Lowry into the box. Can he change it now? Back to Bonner. Good effort and in. There we go. Callum Bonner with the first of the season. And finally, we're back in business. Thank you to everyone who's joining along still. I do appreciate it. Please put a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. I really appreciate your support. A new stream series, something a bit more niche. I know it's not for everyone, but I'm really enjoying it. Bonner gets the ball into the box. Headed away as far as Robinson. Out to the right-hand side to Bonner. Thank you to everyone who's watching on replay as well, catching up. If you've had a long day at work, I hope you're all right. Look after yourselves. As Burrows gets the ball back to Lowry. Lowry intercepts it and finds O'Callaghan. Back to Craig Robinson. He's had a good game so far and finds Winslade on the left. Got to get the sip of drink out. I'm trying not to drink too much, but we're getting the Cricket World Cup out now, so we get to show that off. Craig Robinson to Vaughan. Back to Robinson. Vinicius. Robinson again. Richards. Lowry. Shoot. Goal. 2-0. What a finish. This is a proper good display. And when you get a game like this in a cup where the youngsters are all playing, you see just how good they are. I was getting ready for my first summer playing cricket, but I don't think I'll play any now. Unfortunately, you probably won't get to. It's probably my biggest regret from school. We were at a school in Luton. It was in special measures. It wasn't a great one the early years. He got took over by an academy and they sort of focused on the sports that were easiest to get grades in. So we ended up doing things like badminton and netball as our sports because they were the easiest ones to teach and to get the BTECs or the GCSEs in. So we never really got the chance to play cricket, and it was such a shame because obviously Luton's got a really diverse culture. We had a lot of Asian-based students who love cricket, and obviously there was a few of us like me and Tom who were, you know, British students who were going to watch crickets in the summer now. And we loved the game. The Ashes test was about when we were in school. I think I was year 8 when the end of year 7, start of year 8 with the 2005 Ashes. And then at the end of school, the 2009 ones. And it's the one sport I would have loved to have played properly and never got the chance to. And I honestly, I was a decent football goalkeeper. I had trials at Luton and Luton schools, but unfortunately I had back injuries at the time. And I wouldn't have probably made it anyway, but it did hinder me in that instance. So I think I could have had a decent chance as a wicket keeper for a local side. But as it is, didn't happen. But yeah, definitely, even if it's not this summer, make sure you take the chance to play cricket next year because it'll be a big one. It's the one I missed out on, so make sure you take it. It's a brilliant sport and I'm sure it'll be enjoyable. Thank you to everyone who's still following along. I do appreciate it. 20 minutes left in the cup, so let's get some subs on. And I know we want to focus on the young ones generally, but Balogun's got to come back to fitness. Dwight McNeil, we've got to give him a second debut. He's on on the right-hand side for Vinicius. And then it's either Harrod Stevens or Whitehouse. I think it has to be Whitehouse because he's the one who hasn't really played so far. Although Callum Bonner's knackered at right back. I don't really know what to do there. I know Robinson can go right back. So I'll tell you what, let's do that. Robinson, right back. Phil Richards drops into central midfield. He'll be a deep line playmaker. And then in the number 10, we'll bring Whitehouse on. I know he's not really natural there. But for now, I'm sure he'll do a job. We'll put him as a shadow striker. Possibly something that's a bit more natural to him. And we'll go and get back into it. In fact, I've just had an idea. So let's make those subs. And now we'll go to the tactics board. McNeil will go into the attacking midfield role. He's fairly good there. Advanced playmaker on attack, as we were. Changed it to the wrong one there. And then Whitehouse can play on the left wing. He can be a winger on attack. There we go. Craig Robinson will drop his fullback duties. And we'll just make sure we get the win over the line. Thank you to everyone getting involved. L Gaming, I am a CM in football and I'm learning spin a bit. So like your person on Cricket 19, you're absolutely spot on. I really loved the idea of spin bowling. As a left-hander, I am as well, so it would have benefited me to be able to do that. And that's what I always like with the bat as well. Being a left-hander, it's beneficial. I was quite good at tennis as well growing up. That was probably the other one. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford to join a tennis club when they recommended it. But it's unfortunately a bit of an elitist sport, so working class kids don't get the opportunity so much. But I had a brilliant serve at tennis. Even at year 6, I could serve quick. I could serve and direct it to either corner of the box. The rest of the game's a bit iffy. But the serve and the drop shot was on point. Everything else average. But it probably could have improved. But again, financially couldn't afford that sort of thing. So it was just football for me. I was a centre-half Sunday league and in goal for the school team. And I really enjoyed that. Having the balance of positions. Not having to worry about fitness so much. Probably helped with injuries early on as well. Leon Lowry getting the praise again, back on the score sheet. But absolutely, as much as I love playing FM, I love people coming and joining along here. I would always say, make sure you go and play the game. It's the best thing. Get out involved, whether it's in the park with your mates once you're able to again. Whether it's in your own, in the back garden, whatever it is. Make sure you get involved in sport. It's a great thing to do. It's great for your physical health, great for your mental health as well. So we'll get through this derby game. We said we would. And then what we'll probably do is leave it after that one. I'll go through the 2 weeks of the international break off camera. And then we'll come back for the Tottenham game and carry on where we left off. Today's one, we probably got a few less games in than normal, of course. Because we were still doing all of the other bits as well. Reviewing the transfers, introducing the rules, the save and all that as well. So it's probably not quite the full service here. Going to get a few of the other boys into the reserves. Get them some fitness. But all in all, it's been a very successful start to the season. Just that one slight disappointment against Fulham. Rumours of a takeover. They don't matter so much now. And who have we got in the cup? Forest at home. Played them already this year, so that's going to be another one on the outings. But a game that we know on paper we are capable of winning. So one more game against Derby. That will be the last one of the morning. So a slightly shorter stream than the last couple of times. But I can't thank you all enough for taking a break from your schoolwork, your college work, your normal work, whether you're listening in the background, catching up on replay. I do appreciate you joining along for this. We've not got too long to go now, just a couple of days to Derby. And for anyone who's new along, do get involved down in the chat. There's a real good group in our community and hopefully you'll be able to get anything off your mind. If you're having a tough day, whatever, just have a chat with someone. It makes a difference. One day to go then. I'd imagine this day will be a little bit slower. Just because it's the European transfer deadline. So I'd imagine there'll be quite a lot going on in the background. And although we've taken a lot of the leagues off now, we've still got the big ones on, you know, the Germany, Italy, Spain and France. And we had a message there about the under-18s. Jack Duffy is in a position where you need to consider promoting him. That was a little bit underwhelming. I was hoping for better than that. But I will think about promoting a couple of the others. Thank you to everyone who's still joining along at this point. I do appreciate it, giving up your Tuesday morning for us. If you can, please put a thumbs up on it. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. If you're watching on replay, get down in the comments. Let me know what you think of the start to the season, the youngsters we've got at the clubs, the under-18s we've signed, who are going to be the superstars of the season. We'll be live every single Tuesday morning at 10 AM. We'll do a couple of hours, play 5, 6, 7 games, and try and work our way through 3 or 4 years here, before FM21 comes out, of course. When that happens, I'll definitely find a way to do a regular live stream series, because I've really enjoyed it so far. But there's some big deals going on in the background. We saw a 33 million there, and there's a Friday night game in the Premier League as well. Thank you so much to everyone the last couple of weeks as well that's popped over to the podcast channel. I know it's something I mention occasionally on here, but it's Football Links. We've been interviewing current and former professionals. I'm still waiting for the first one that featured on this channel. But Neil Wainwright, I mentioned earlier on, a former LMA manager hero for me. And there's a few others that have featured on the channel for opponents or whatever else it may be. Having the chance to interview professional footballers is like a dream come true for me. So I'm really grateful for your support with it. The channel itself has picked up amazingly in the last few weeks, particularly where we've been interviewing more pros as well. Oh, Gaming, do you support a Prem team like a second team in football? I don't. The Premier League, I'm completely neutral. So for the Premier League, I don't support anyone. In terms of football, I only support Luton Town. It doesn't matter, like if there's a team that's playing great football or something, then I'll enjoy watching them for the season. So for example, the 2000 point, I used to love Gianfranco Zola at Chelsea when I was a kid. So I used to enjoy watching them. When Ipswich came up, they had a really good team around then as well. Arsenal, around that invincible team, I mean, the players they had there, it was amazing to watch. It was the Vavavoom football, as they used to say. And then, probably moving on a bit, Bolton under Sam Allardyce, when they got the likes of Okocha, Djorkaeff and whatever. I just pick a couple of teams. I enjoy watching them play, and I won't miss their games. But I still watch all of the games on the telly. I still enjoy them all. It's just I'm a complete neutral for the Premier League. But Luton, going through the leagues recently, so I've got to see nearly every team in England, which has been great. We've been able to see from non-league up to the Championship, which has made a massive difference to me and helped me on my quest to start doing the 92 as well. But let's pick our lineup for this game today. Summer Skills coming back in, and we'll just go as close to the first 11 as we can. Hopefully Simpson won't get sent off again. Right back, Callum Bonner. They've all got a 2-week break after this, bar the young internationals. Left back is Wardley. Right hand side is... Who am I missing? Shout at me. Ferran Torres. There it is. Edmonds over on the left back from injury. Who else is in the middle? Ossie Robinson. Excuse me. And who's the other one? Vinicius Xavier. You'd think I'd know my best 11 by now. Attacking midfield is going to be Ashley Harrott. And up front, do we bring him back in from the start? We have to, because Lowry's tired. So Balogun in, Lowry on the bench. The rest of the subs will be Coleman, Furlong. I mean, really, Coleman shouldn't be the first choice sub. It should be Fabio, as he's going to be here long term. And after Coleman's poor game last time out in the league, why not? So Fabio on the bench, Furlong, Lowry, Richards, McNeil, Vaughan, and O'Callaghan. That's the 7 subs. So we'll save it quickly, just because we have had some crashing around transfer deadline day and other saves. And then we'll play our final game against Derby this morning. Did you go to the Wrexham Luton playoff game quite a few years ago? Unfortunately not. Around that time I was probably in college, so I was living off the EMA allowance. So I used to have about 12 quid for lunch for the week and for whatever else. And then I saved half the money for a driving lesson. So that's the reason. I couldn't afford to go to any football really. The Gamer, hello, welcome back. Thanks for popping along again. Do really appreciate it. So yeah, around 17, 18 is probably when I went to the least football. Thankfully Luton, because they went down to the National League, they got took over by owners who are fans of the club. They made the youth season ticket 50 quid, which was incredible. So my family went together and got that as a birthday present for me, which is May, for the following season. So I got to go to the home games, which was great. But away games, only the odd one that was very cheap and that a mate could drive us to at the time. Otherwise, we weren't able to go. Did you... So yeah, I didn't go to the playoff game. I did go to the one in Manchester, which was a playoff final against York, or who was it against? Can't remember. Might have been York. I think it was the York game where Jason Walker tried to chip a penalty in, and it cost us in a shootout. The game I had to do some college work. No worries at all. Work, college, school comes first. You can always catch up on replay. There's videos on the channel. You can pop in and out. I've no problem. The fact that you're here supporting me on a Tuesday morning is incredible. So thank you for coming along. Jonah, have you ever thought about installing the logo packs? To be honest, it's not something that's ever bothered me at all. I mean, it doesn't matter in the head coach now because we've moved to Germany and that's got the licence league. It's never something that's bothered me. A couple of people have asked in the past, but it's never really caused a huge issue. And obviously, in terms of Sports Interactive, it causes issues if you have a logo pack installed. They can't then, in theory, support or acknowledge your content. So I don't want to be in that position. But it's not something I've ever worried about doing. Obviously, it could cause legal issues down the road, particularly with what Man United are doing at the moment, suing Sports Interactive. So it's not really a path I want to go down unless everyone says you must do it or I'm going to stop watching, to be honest. Oh, Gaming, I did more schoolwork yesterday so I could watch your stream today. Very kind of you. And of course, I know you're listening and getting involved in this, but do some schoolwork as well later on. Make sure you get involved in it, get what you need done. Education is important. For me, I did enough to get my education. That's the main thing. And obviously, you never know where it's going to lead. I didn't expect to be working in the NHS. I didn't expect to be managing a GP surgery. And I didn't expect to have a YouTube channel. So, you never know what's going to happen. Ball into the box from Szymanski. Derby have started well here. We've had more of the chances, but so far, no goals. But Balogun's found Edmonds, and is he going to go on another solo run? He's in one-on-one. Oh, he's at the post and out. Wrong side of the post, missed by a whisker. But what a solo run from him again. But thank you everyone for your support. I can see the numbers creeping up again. Thank you so much for getting involved. I hope it's all running smoothly for you. Please do put a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. It does make a massive difference. And we're trying our very best here to cling on. We're in our final game of the morning. Derby have got a corner. And he's into the box. Headed off the line. Torres I thought he got a flick on it to divert it away. But he didn't. It just went wide of the post. And it's 0-0 as we come up to half time. And we really need to stay unbeaten if possible. We've got a tough run coming up in the next couple of episodes. So I want to make sure we're in a good position in the league. So we're going to say we're disappointed. Fire the lads up. The good news is Ossie Robinson's playing better today. But Edmonds having a poor game over on the left. But thank you all for your support. I do appreciate it. Both here and over on the videos as well as the podcast channel which I've mentioned. The Gamer, how are you finding this year's FM? I really enjoyed it. I really have. Now, it's a fantastic game. Off the pitch, it's by far the best FM there's ever been. And most years that's the case, to be honest. Even if you go back 2 or 3 years to do an old save, you'll realise how special this one is. But on the pitch, the one thing that was an issue the middle of the year, and it probably coincided with poorer content for me as well, as Summerskill makes a great save, was that clear-cut chances bug, where you were seeing 30-yard screamers going all the time, and clear-cut chances wasted every single time. Now that's been sorted out for the January patch, it's much better, and it's a fantastic game. But I can't lie, that probably month or two, with those couple of patches, was probably the most frustrated I've been with an FM for 2 or 3 years. But I'm interested to know your thoughts. What have you guys thought of this year's game? Is it the same for you guys? Or was I just being fussy with the clear-cut chances bug? You'll probably have heard me mention it on videos for years. Years worth of the career. Edmonds is coming off. He's had an awful game. And because it's 0-0, I'm going to try and get first teamers on. So Dwight McNeil, winger on attack. Ferran Torres on the right is going to be replaced by Vaughan. He likes to play further forward. Although Robinson's on a yellow as well. Oh, I don't know what to do there. Phil Richards or Leon Lowry. No. Robinson off. Vaughan centre midfield. Lowry inside forward on attack. That's where we're going to put it. A decent chance. We have just about been the better side. But Derby's second half have come back into it a bit. So we'll demand more with the 3 changes made. And let's hope we can find another hero. Thank you to everyone coming along. I do appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying the stream still. I hope it's running smoothly still. An hour and 40 in. We're into the final game, so we won't be here too much longer. And make sure you all get a good and proper lunch break. 2 minutes of stoppage time, and I'm afraid it's going to be a 0-0. The first game this season, we haven't managed to get a goal, but it's a decent result. It's a draw on the road. I'm not sure where Derby were expected to finish. We'll go and have a look in a second. Let's see. Season preview, Derby are expected 15th following promotion. So they must have invested a bit. And then we drew last time out against Fulham, the other promoted side. So actually, that looks bad now. In our first 4 games, we've played all 3 of the promoted sides. We're unbeaten, but we've dropped 4 points, which isn't great. The only thing I don't like about FM is the away fans are always in the wrong place for the team I manage. I'll tell you what annoyed me. I don't know if you remember from the Dorking save. It used to say it was a sellout, and then there was an empty stand behind the goal. I don't know if it was the seating regulations or whatever, but just the image of that used to frustrate me a bit. In terms of the inbox, Derby hold out for their draw. We'll go through the press conference quickly, and we will skip through just to the end of the weekend to see where it leaves us after 4 full rounds of fixtures, and then we'll round up our season so far. The game up, this is my first full fat FM game. I'm enjoying it, but the clear-cut chance bug was annoying. Seeing my striker with 16 finishing, 13 composure and 13 decisions miss a sitter was annoying. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say that for those 2 months, the striker's ability was not reflected in game by the finishing. It was every single one was missed. And there was some frustration there, and it probably did lead to a bit of annoyance. But now, following that being fixed, it's definitely the best FM there's ever been. And that's normally the case by the end, if we're being honest. Let's keep skipping ahead to the end of the weekend. Just make sure we're still in that top 6. Your ball-winning midfielder with 6 long shots were banging one in. I had ones were worse than that, I can tell you. And I'm sure you would have as you went along. It was so frustrating just watching screamers go in from 30 yards every game. I know there's a lot of good goals and probably more than we recognise in real life. But it was a little bit frustrating nonetheless. So we're just going to go through the Sunday and Monday fixtures. Make sure that everyone's played their 4th game. And then we'll see where that leaves us after a month of the season. I don't think there's a Monday game. So these are the last 2. Thank you everyone for your incredible support this morning as well. I really do appreciate it. If you're still here and you haven't yet, please put a thumbs up on it. Make sure you get down in the comments after. Let us know what you think. And you can catch up with a full stream afterwards. It will be a replay on the channel available. It takes about half an hour to process normally. Then it's available to watch in full. So they're the 2 games done. And this is how the table looks with 4 games gone. We are in 6th place on 8 points. It's a little bit of a false position because we played the 3 promoted sides and Wolves. We haven't played any of the top half candidates yet. And I'd imagine things will change when that happens. And the first of them is Tottenham, which is just under 2 weeks' time. The first game in the Premier League after the international break. Friday the 14th, we're playing Tottenham. I'll very quickly round up the transfers. We'll just talk about who we've brought in. 3 young South American Wonderkids, 18 or under. And then Dwight McNeil, the homegrown player, coming back to the club it all started at. So they're the rules for this series if you missed earlier on. We've got to have players that have either been homegrown at Burnley in the past, who qualify if we sign them now, under 18s who will get 3 years experience and become homegrown players at the club, or ones that have come through the academy or have been first team players and met the homegrown quota before. So that's the rules for the series. This one will continue every Tuesday at 10 AM. I really do appreciate you coming along this morning. El Gaming, you agree with the gamer. You're spot on. The clear-cut chances bug was the really annoying bit. But otherwise, we've got a great game on our hands now. It's been a brilliant month to start the season. It's been a brilliant morning interacting with you guys. Thank you all for popping along, getting involved in the comments, for putting your thumbs up on. And in advance, if you're watching back on a stream replay, thank you again for taking the time out. The normal head coach video will be out at 4:30 today. Nearly said 2:30 for some reason. So you can catch up with our new exploits in Germany. And Saturday's episode will be in the eye above for those watching the replay. Tomorrow, we're back with Cricket 19 and Dorking Wanderers. And we've got another stadium review on Sunday too. Before we're back with this one next Tuesday at the same time, 10 AM. Thank you again for your incredible support. I hope you enjoyed it this morning. And take care of yourselves. I hope you have a good lunch and work. And I'll see you next week the same time.